Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yay! Here we are.
Woo!
Okay, so let's give everyone just a little bit of time before they get on. If you are watching this from the replay, please say hello to us. We like it when you say hello.
Let us know you're here.
Let us know you're here. So if you are new here and you don't know us yet, we are Ian and Jaiya.
I happen to be Jaiya, and she's Ian. No, wait.
Maybe
she's
you're confused.
She's Jaiya, and I'm Ian. Hearts, yay! We love hearts.
So if you're here, coming on here, please say hello to us. Say where you're from. Say your blueprint. We always love when people start that conversation about what our blueprints are.
And what's a blueprint?
What's a blueprint?
I guess we'll get into that.
We'll get into that. So
Yeah.
just a little bit about ourselves. I have been working in the field of sexuality for the last 20 years, doing mostly somatic. He's loving me right now when I talk about myself here. Mm-hmm. Yes. Doing mostly somatic sexology. So what that means is it's body-based sexology where I have my hands on people's bodies. And that's how I came about learning about the blueprints and understanding the blueprints and all that kind of good stuff. Mm-hmm. So I've written 4 books and best-selling books.
And she's incredible. She's spoken on
the
stages for Tony Robbins, for Mama Gina, for all sorts
Lots of media.
Lots of media.
I could talk about all that stuff. I think
Forever and
anybody
ever.
who's watched the videos knows I could talk about all that stuff. But I'd much rather talk to you all about the vulnerabilities and the story of. Go ahead.
I'm going to introduce myself. I'm
Yes.
Ian. I happen to be her partner. I'm a bit of a guinea pig in this whole experiment.
Yes, I'm frequently throwing him in on things.
Yes, putting me under the lens to find out what's happening with me erotically. It's fun. It's amazing.
And where we can go together.
Exactly. And I've also have done 20 years of my own deep dive into human development and studied with all the greats in the field, the Tony Robbinses and the Tim Ferrisses and all the amazing people out there.
Yes.
And yeah.
Communication
skills, all this juicy stuff.
But the biggest part is that he's in relationship with someone who throws him in on these guinea pig things. So 90 days of oral sex, that was one of our experiments.
That was one of ours. We did a 40-40 experiment where we did a dominance and submission thing. She dominated me for 40 days straight. We took 10 days off, and then I dominated her for 10 to 40 days back.
Yep. So we do these experiments all the time. Fun stuff. I see Jonathan's here. Hello, Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan.
If you're here, say hello to us. Say hi.
Tell us your blueprint. Tell us where
Yep.
you're from.
And so the story I really am interested in sharing, we can talk about accolades and all that kind of good stuff, but the story I actually want to share is about the time in Ian and I's life when things were not so happy and erotic and we were exploring and he was being a fun guinea pig. It was
the times
more
when that was not
about
happening.
resistance.
Yeah.
And maybe some of you relate to that story of not knowing really how to connect or knowing how to deepen your passion in your relationship. You love each other, but it's a struggle.
Look, like when Jaiya and I got together, our first year together was super hot. We had all the magnetic attraction. We had that youthful connection. We had just the juice that you have when it's all young and new. And then some life circumstances took place. We had a son, a beautiful, amazing son. And yet, the beautiful event was also the beginning of an incredible chasm that opened up in between us around our connection, around our sexuality. Jaiya, you went through some pretty incredible stuff in terms of
pretty intense pain, and I know that's one of the barriers to a lot of hot sex is going through really intense pain. Hi, Francesca. Francesca's here again.
Oh, hey, Francesca.
Hey, did you know that you won the last contest? I sent you a message, but maybe you didn't get it.
No, I think she got it.
Did she get it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You're a winner from the last time. Yay, congratulations,
Yay.
Francesca. So where was I? I was talking about, the pain. So I had pretty intense scar tissue and wasn't lubricating, and sex was incredibly painful for me physically. But then once that was healed, there was still a rift between Ian and I that I couldn't figure out. And so that was the more painful one, because here I was, the sex goddess who knew everything and knew all the techniques and had written 4 books about sex and couldn't find that connection that I so desired and so craved. And we also had a blueprint issue. We talked about in our class on epic seduction fails. Ian has a very different blueprint than I do.
I'm kinky and sensual.
And I'm energetic, sexual, mainly sexual in my relationship with Ian. And so I really wanted a lot of sex. I wanted a lot of pleasure. I still do today, right now. And that wasn't happening. And so that was a huge pain point for me in my life and in our relationship. And I started really questioning things and had one foot out the door of, will I ever get my needs met? Maybe some of you have those thoughts or those voices that say, will I get my needs met in this relationship? Will that happen for me here? And there's something that Esther Perel talks about, which is in today's society, we kind of have this serial monogamy where we think about not, is this the right relationship? It's more, there's a better relationship. There's something out there that's better for me. There's something always better for me. We live in kind of a more society.
Swipe left, or swipe right, whatever the apps are for like, what's the next one? Who's the next one that I can find who's going to fulfill my needs and make this one work?
And I'm always committed to the idea that no matter what, if we keep hopping from relationship to relationship, we bring ourselves with us. And so really learning about who am I, and that's what I think the blueprints allow us to do, is really learn who am I as an erotic being so that I can ask for my needs to be met in that partnership and in that relationship. And that's how I came to this whole thing, was I'm going to dive in 100%. I'm going to make 100% commitment to this relationship because I know it's just me I get to carry along with me in the next one. And yeah, maybe it'll be a better one. I don't know. But all I know is that I can work on me and make a commitment to diving in 100%. And that's what I did. And that's when things started to shift and change, was when I understood myself. I dove in 100%. I made a commitment 100% to the change and the growth and the things that I wanted in my life. And that then started making a change, and then learning Ian's blueprint and really honoring him.
Right. So Jaiya was over there with her needs of the sexual and the energetic, and I was over here in my needs with my sensual and my kinky, and both of us were like looking right past each other in terms of being able to supply what each other needed. I wanted cuddling and connection, and Jaiya wanted to get right to the sex. She was like, wanted certainty that we were going to get there.
Mystery.
And I wanted mystery and obstacle, and I wanted all the things that come along with the kinky of like setting a scene. So there were all of these things that on the outside, and even just in our dialogue with each other, we're creating a deep set of resentments. For me, my confidence was like dropping through the floor. Jaiya's libido has always been much higher than mine.
And my pattern is just, I'm not getting my needs met, abandon. That's my normal pattern. Maybe some of you relate to that or feel inadequate. That could be another place that people go. So tonight, I want to talk about our questions and answers. We shared a little bit about ourselves, a little bit about our story, but today is really a Q&A for you all who are here, who are live with us, to ask any questions that you have about erotic blueprints, about our erotic blueprint breakthrough course, and also for us just to have a more of a dialogue and a conversation about sexuality and about our sexuality. One of our core brand values is pleasure first, which we'll do a little bit of here in a moment, but another one is raw and real. So I want to invite all of us to get raw and real together, to share. What are you struggling with? What can we help you with? And let's have that dialogue and let's have that conversation and see where we can go this evening in the time that we have together. And I see more and more people coming on here, so please talk to us. We're almost up to 100 people here, so please talk to us. Tell us your name, where you're from. Share your blueprint. If you have questions, let's start throwing those in here.
If you don't know what your blueprint is, you can go to eroticbreakthrough.com, and then you'll take a quiz, and you'll get your results. And I also want to start with one little bit of pleasure, which is tonight we have a fun little contest for whoever's most engaged and sharing the most. We are going to give away one of Jaiya's amazing books. It's all about our 40-40 experiment with domination and submission, and it's called Cuffed, Tied, and Satisfied. So we're going to give that away to the most engaged person. And some of you may be following our emails. You took the quiz. You're getting all the information about our course. I also want to let you know that we put out a special bonus today, and it's only open until 7 p.m. Pacific time tonight, and that is for our Sexual Mindset Boot Camp, which is a 6-audio program that is going to take you through really busting through a lot of the subconscious stuff that's keeping you stuck. And this is where we found so many of the people get the really deep breakthroughs in our program, is by doing these meditations to really break through the things that really keep them stuck in the old patterns. And they need to work the inside so that they can transform the outside.
So I want to start with this question here. One of the things that we're going to focus on in those audio programs is undoing poor sex education. So the majority of us say we don't have sex education, but I would like to argue that you actually did get sex education. What did your parents actually teach you, or what did your schools teach you, or what did your religion teach you about sexuality? Where did you get your sex education from? And then how has that affected your sexuality moving forward? So that's just something to ponder. That's one of the things that we're going to unravel, is unraveling the dysfunctional sex education into positive, more comprehensive, more accepting, less shame in our eroticism. So that's just one of the many. Maybe we'll talk about some more as we go through the evening. All right, so Francesca says hi. Grace says hi. She's a shapeshifter. Hugh, hello, Hugh.
Hey, Hugh.
Francesca's from Toronto, and she is a shapeshifter. Connie's here. Hi,
Hey, Connie.
One of our erotic blueprint breakthrough coaches. Yay. Colleen is here. Hi, Colleen. She has a question for us we'll get to. Anat says, I'm energetic. Hello from Calgary. Hi. Francine, I think a lot of people may be worried about privacy settings on this for asking questions. Could this show up in my feed?
This one can, but that does point to one thing that's part of our program. We have a secret group where you can share, and that does not show up in anybody's feed. That's not what we're doing this on tonight. We're doing this on Jaiya's page. But when you're in the course, that is a completely secret group, and it doesn't show up on your Facebook feed.
It doesn't show up on anybody's feed.
Anybody else's feed except your own.
Yep. Dawn says hello. Hi, Dawn. Timothy, hi there from Berkeley, California. Oops. And Renate, shapeshifter from California.
Nice.
Yay. Jonathan says, acceptance and positivity both really are things I like. Yes. That's what we are all about, is acceptance, acceptance, acceptance.
Acceptance, acceptance.
Okay, so let's start with a question we had that somebody sent in, which is a question about energetics and also feeling. Do the different blueprints feel different kinds of pleasure? Oh. So yes, the blueprints do feel different kinds of pleasure. So they may feel different sensations. So what we think of as the sexual orgasm may be experienced very differently for each blueprint. So the energetic may experience it as a shuddering in the body. And sometimes this feels pleasurable if you can allow the energy to move. Sometimes it actually feels painful when it first starts to happen. But as you allow energy to move, maybe it's sound, and you got to watch your thoughts too, because the mind can come in and shape that, which is like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on. This is scary. As opposed to like, okay, this is pleasure. This is orgasmic energy moving through my body. And so when you focus on those sensations, or like a sensual can eat something and go into an orgasmic state or an orgasmic feeling. So each blueprint will have different ways that it interprets pleasure, different ways that it interprets sensation. And it's when we label it right or wrong or good or bad or all that can affect it. So it's how you're labeling your blueprint that is actually really important. It's how you're labeling the pleasure as this is good. Telling your body this is okay. This is the experience of orgasm for a sensual. This is the experience of orgasm for an energetic. That can help you as you sink into pleasure more and more.
One of the things that I love about the work that we do, is that a lot of what we do is about expanding into the other blueprints. That's part of one of the things we dive deep into the course. And being able to expand on the blueprints, for me, energetic was not my blueprint at all. And I would say at this point, I'm a pretty well-developed energetic. And my experience of moving energy through my body has completely transformed. So now I get to blend the energetic with the sensual. I get to
do a lot of kinky.
I do a lot of kinky with the energetic. So I've expanded into these other blueprints, and now something that was foreign to me, like what is the pleasure of the energetic, I completely get. I can be in a completely energetic sexual orgasm with Jaiya, and now I can meet you. I can meet you where you live.
You can meet me where I live. All right, so Colleen has a question about Ian and I about poly and polyamorous relationships. And I see some stuff on here on Stacks. Hi, Gregory. Some new people here. Michelle, sensual from Western Australia.
Wow, yay.
Yay. What time is it over there?
I wonder if you found us through Susanna.
So, question about poly. So people who don't know what poly means, so there are many different kinds of relationship styles. There's polyamorous, there's monogamous, there's serial monogamous, there's monogamish, as Dan Savage says. There's open relationship, there's swinger. So there's many, many different types of relationship. And I believe that all people are at choice over what kind of relationship really works best for them. And so I would say that right now, Ian and I are polytheorists.
Somewhat polyactive.
Somewhat polyactive. But what that means is we have an open relationship. And that's what our agreement is part of that. And part of it also stems from my work, because I work in the field of sexuality. I couldn't see being with somebody who was really like hardcore monogamous, yeah. Because my research laboratory is the human body and is sexuality. So part of it goes part and parcel with my work. And part of it is also our choice in open relating and open loving. So yes.
And know that we honor monogamous relationships.
We honor all relationships.
All the relationship as long as it's consensual.
Yes.
That's the big key.
That is our big foundation for everything.
And one of the big things that is underneath all of any successful relationship is communication. And building those communication skills, being able to trust. And when you're in any kind of like open or alternative relationship, the need for that kind of communication is almost exponential. Because the need to reveal, the need to be self-responsible with, just going to pause.
There we go. We came back.
We got a little glitchy.
If you got glitchy with us, we're here.
We're here.
Okay, so Renate has another question. I wanted to learn about stacks and how to figure out mine and my partner's as a shapeshifter and with the shadow side of pleasing. It's my current edge, learning about how that flow really works. That's a really, really great question.
Have you got a week?
So this is a very advanced concept, the concept of shapeshifter stacking, and it's something we teach in our workshops as well as in the course. So this is a deeper concept. I want to give you a couple little things that you can take home with you. And anybody who's a shapeshifter, who's the shapeshifters out there? I want to know who our shapeshifters are, because I know that a lot of them are really attracted to what we do because we honor all of the different blueprints that are out there. So the shapeshifter side of pleasing. So First, I want to address that. So the shadow side of the shapeshifter, I see lots of hearts going by, so I'm guessing there's a lot of shapeshifters here. So the shadow side of the shapeshifter is always shifting to please. Like we're always looking like, okay, well, what's that other person? We're always kind of reading and then pleasing and playing to their blueprint for the most part. And so if you have that shadow aspect, or maybe you judge yourself as too much, or your needs aren't okay, it's not okay to ask, those are some of the shapeshifter shadow qualities. I would address that first and foremost before you even go to learning stacking, which is, again, this advanced concept. I would go more to that part of you that has difficulty, that really wants to please all the time. The mindset meditations, the mindset boot camp, that's something that's going to help with that, because maybe it's shame that comes up in your body. Or what comes up in your body when you think about your own needs being met? What comes up in your body when you think about asking for those needs? Maybe it's the asking, or maybe it's taking with consent, of course. Maybe. So what is it on that shadow side, and where does it live in your body? So Renate, I'm going to ask you right now just to check in with your own body, and everybody check in with us. Where's that part of you that overrides your own needs in order to please someone else? So check in with your body. Like, where's that live in your body? That sensation of that pleaser, if you just want to call it something. Where's that pleaser that negates your own needs to please someone else and doesn't speak up? Where does that part live? And find it. And maybe it has a little different flavor than the pleaser. Like mine has the perfectionist. Be good all the time. Be the good girl.
Mine's the good boy. Got to solve this so that I can get the love and I don't get rejected.
So feeling in your body, and what's the sensation?
The sensation is like a buzzy, like a high frequency, like
mine's
tense,
a very intense tension.
Tight in my upper chest.
And where is it? Your upper chest? Mine's like in my belly.
Here, and it kind of runs up to my forehead.
So everybody write down as I'm saying this, like write in here, where's your pleaser or your good boy, good girl live? Where's that, or the perfectionist live in your body? And just play, like, let's look at it a little bit. What's the sensation that it causes? What's the behavior that it causes when you go deep into it? What's the behavior that part of you will tend to go into? Maybe it's, I overwork because I have to get everything perfect, or I will avoid, or I'll abandon something because I feel like I can't win at it. You know?
I look for external validation if I'm in that place. I'm like, where? How can I fix this so I can get the love that I want?
So there's the behavior, and then lean into the emotion of it. So what's the emotion? Is it afraid? Is it sad? Is it angry? Is it calm? Is it...
I don't like being in this.
You're like, I don't like being in this. This is like Ian's work. He's working on this guy right now. This part of himself. Yeah. So like look at the emotion that's there. So I hope everybody's playing along with us right now. Like, look deeply at the emotion that's in that shadow of the shapeshifter, which we all can have a little bit of that pleaser, or like mine shows up more as the perfectionist. Again, just like checking in, keep leaning into it. Like mine is lean in to let it go. It's not try to avoid these feelings. It's lean in to let it go. What we resist persists. I've been hearing that phrase since I was like 18 years old. So lean into it. Look at it. Good. And then notice if some breath comes in. Like I did, my body just took a nice big deep breath. And then you can ask, okay, well, what do I really want? What do I really want from that place? And so this is the beginnings of just starting to work with that pleaser. So there's all kinds of stuff we can do to start to rewire our brains, rewire our bodies, rewire our nervous system around it, because it really can be a survival strategy that we created. I talked in the last class about how some people freeze, some people fight, some people fly away, and then there's the people who fawn. And so fawning can also be a survival mechanism, and it's one that I did a lot as a kid, is just like, I'll make it all okay for everybody. And I'll be like the good girl, and I'll please everybody, and that will keep everybody happy. And by fawning and keeping everybody happy, I stay alive. I survive. And so that can be a deep survival strategy. So just honor that part. Let's just have some compassion for that part. And we're not going to go too deeply into fixing or solution this evening, but I just want us to have that. Just that alone can be, just for bringing awareness, can be deeply healing.
I would say that that's also a little taster sample of the sexual mindset bootcamp bonus that we're talking about, that you can get if you join tonight before 7 o'clock.
So anybody who signs up for the course, it's eroticbreakthrough/yes to sign up for the course. Anybody who signs up will get that 6-part audio course. And I'm making it specifically for this group. So just know that I'm creating this for us, and you'll get it after the course has already begun, but I will be creating this especially. So this could be something that we really work with, is that pleaser energy in those. It's also, you will get mindset meditations as part of this. And in week 6, we really work on healing the shadow of the blueprint. Okay, so stacking is also a bonus class in Erotic Blueprint Breakthrough course. So just to give you a little hint about stacking, you took the quiz. So if you took the quiz online, that might give you a hint into your stacking. However, the body doesn't lie. And so we have little games to figure out more from the body than from what your mind might say, because the quiz is very much of a heady thing. I really like to find these things out more from experience, and that will take some time. So that's patience about really learning how that flow works. But again, I'm going to go back to work with the shadow first. And then when you worked through the shadow, that's when then we can start moving into expansion and the stacking and all of that. So remember that we need to feed, heal, speak, and then we expand the blueprints.
One of the things that came to me when we were doing that meditation is this thing that I know that I have I've had an inability to actually tap into my own pleasure, because I get stuck in the pleaser. I can't even find it. I don't even know how to say, yes, that's pleasurable to me. So I know before we started getting into this blueprint work and putting it in our relationship, I was in that pleaser mode. And when I wasn't able to please you, and we were in that 3 years of complete like separation and resentment, I just went deeper and deeper into like failure, and less attached and connected to my pleasure.
So I want you, any of you who are in that place right now, I feel you, and I know Ian's been there, and on the other side of the pleaser, being in a relationship with a pleaser, I also want to please. And so there's this block that can happen where some of my pleasure as a sexual especially goes away because I don't get that opportunity. But then there's also like sometimes a mistrust and someone who's always like in that pleaser role, or
you don't know who they are or what they want. And that's because often, like for myself, I didn't know who I was.
Especially if you're a shapeshifter on top of it, because you're shifting all the time, right?
I didn't know who I was or what I wanted. And it's through this work that I get to discover that and claim it. Like, get to own it and start to dispel the shame and start to get rid of all of the judgments and that bad sex education that I got, which was mostly silence around sex. So I had to invent everything. I had to make it all up, what it meant, like orgasm and connection and love.
So Craig says it's 11:45 in Australia. Yay, Craig!
11:45 a.m. I think tomorrow.
Yep. Gregory, I don't know if this is just my internet connection. Okay, yeah, it could be a combination of that.
Could be ours. Hopefully it's not ours.
Timothy is raising hand. Yeah, Renee says sometimes I just don't know what will work, and this is another challenge that we really face in our sexuality, is that we don't have these spaces for discovery and just discovering what will work. You know, there's this like, oh, I have to have it all figured out when I go into sex, and I have to be like really good, and I have to be the master, and I have to be competent. But what we really just need, maybe, and could be something that you set up for yourself, is just the space and the time and the containers to just be exploring. That's why Ian and I, we do something called Sex Labs. We do one every week, and we do one in our Erotic Freedom Club, which the Sex Labs then give us the space for discovery. Without the criticism, the shame, the judgment, or the need to get someplace. Even just having a free container of, you know what, I want to explore and kind of find out what my shapeshifter stack is. Can we just do that for the next 20 minutes? And then that becomes about the exploration, not about like, oh, I have to be some masterful lover in this moment, or pressure, especially for those of you who are sensual. Pressure will kill. That's why for 5 years I had almost zero libido. With a child and work and money stresses, my head was not in the game. I as a sensual, and then me complaining all the time. Right, so I'm not getting my needs met. Chop chop. We got to get to the sex, and I just could not drop in. I needed to relax to be able to have sex. Yep. Okay, so people are talking about where they were experiencing that in their body. So I thank you for these reveals between the heart and the throat. Gregory definitely experiences the pleaser. Renee was in the belly. Francesca was in the throat and chest. And yeah, it was feeling irritable. Gregory, forgetting myself. I'm not as important. Rejection. I feel satiated when I give others pleasure. Yeah, so for some of you, like, it's really in the giving pleasure that you experience pleasure, but it's really hard for you to receive. Esther Perel also talks about these different verbs. In which one is it difficult for you to play with? And we play with them as well in the body. So asking, giving, receiving, sharing, refusing, taking and playing was a new one that she just added. So where in there do you have difficulty? Like, it's really easy for me to give in all the blueprints, but I have a lot of difficulty receiving in sensual and kinky. I like receiving in the other ones too, but these two, kinky, especially because I have to surrender, I have to let go, and that can be really hard for me. It's very vulnerable for me. Gregory, or bless up from the islands, yay. Dawn, I think it is my heart. Wanting external approval, wanting attention. I start after a while feeling afraid and then feel empty and alone and with no satisfaction. So I'm just taking a breath to really feel you. You know, I think sexuality is this area where we don't talk, and I talked about this in the last class, but we don't talk about this. And I just want to really thank you, Dawn, for that reveal, because it's this conversation that brings healing. It's this conversation about how we do feel, we feel afraid, or we feel sad, or we feel angry about these things that we've been taught or told, or how we've learned to be, and maybe we have difficulty receiving. And so, and then on the other end, there's all the amazing pleasure that there is to be had. And so I want to speak to that too, because it's not just all about the pain that we feel, but it's definitely also about the pleasure that we can experience in these human bodies that is so incredible. So Jonathan says, I definitely get here really just what you mean by to let go, Jaiya. Yeah, just how can we let go? Right now, I invite all of you who are here just to see how you can let go just a little bit more. Find a little place, just check in with your body, and where is it, if there's tension or any of the other anxiety or anything going on,
scan your body for a
Bring
place
some
where you
breath to
find
it.
pleasure. Like one place.
Yeah,
right?
when we look inside our bodies, we often are looking for where it's discomfortable, uncomfortable, where there's dis-ease. Let's look in and see if we can find a little bit of pleasure, since pleasure first is one of our mottos. So where do you feel a little pleasure in your body? Can you bring more breath and awareness to the pleasure, and then just start to expand that and start to expand it into some turn on, maybe some arousal? For me, that's an instant. I can just instantly go to a whole bunch of turn on and arousal. And it doesn't mean you have to be like me.
I can go to tingling, and I can start to radiate that tingling throughout my body by using breath and just focusing on that energy.
I feel a whole bunch of buzzing in my pussy.
Ooh.
It feels super yummy.
She just said that on Facebook.
I did.
NSF, not safe for work. NSFW.
Good. So just that little moment of tuning in. Really beautiful. Thank you all for going there with me. And again, we encourage questions. We are giving away Cuff Tied Satisfied tonight for people who are most engaged.
That's
we
one of
love
Jaiya's
your
books.
questions.
One of the things that you were talking about, Jaiya, and the metaphor that I love for this is the thing about accessing pleasure. And often it's like people talk about sex is natural. And some people say sex is natural, and so, what's there to learn? Well, sex is natural. Making love is an art. And like any art, like culinary arts, like learning to cook the most amazing meal, like learning how to speak multiple languages and doing it like you no second thought, like it's your natural first tongue.
Who said that quote? Sex is natural, making love is an art.
I think
heard that somewhere.
well, I'm not sure if I made it up. I'm not, but I've used it. But the thing about it is to do artistry, to become an artist, one needs to have the tools and the distinctions and the language. And with, like making a beautiful meal, you need to know exactly the right mix of the pepper and the salt and the exotic spice and the way to put it in the oven. So, I'm speaking to all the sensuals out there.
Very sensual right now. He said yummy.
So it's that thing of like, would you like to become an erotic artist? Would you like to be able to indulge in all of the pleasures that are available to you in the bedroom and in connecting with your lover and in connecting with yourself? Because we also get this question from a lot of single people about, should I wait to do this course until I'm in a relationship? And the question that we often say back is, well, are you only a sexual being when you're in a relationship with someone else? Or are you always a sexual being?
Yeah.
The answer is
yes.
Yes, you are always a sexual being. So, and when better the opportunity to start to learn more deeply about your own turn-ons, so that when you do find yourself dating somebody or getting into that new relationship, you're starting from a brand new place. You're starting from a place where you've articulated what turns you on, such to the point where the new person can win. You can share with them who you are. You can bring them in to your world of arousal and eroticism, and they can become your ultimate lover because they can actually like listen to you and hear the terms and go, oh, I know how to do that. Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, and I think for because we get this question so much of, I'm single, is this okay? Is this right for me? And I'd say if you want to be in a relationship, if you're craving a relationship, either with yourself, because relationship isn't always about the other. Relationship can be about the relationship to your own body, to your own pleasure, and you're just wanting to know yourself and you're wanting to gain more sexual satisfaction. But there's also the piece of, when I get into my next relationship, I want to bring a new me. I want to bring a new upgraded version of myself, which is really understanding and knowing who I am and the ability to heal some of the shadow pieces so that I can come in really whole and really in the positive aspects of my sexuality. So I think for singles, yes. The people who I say this is not for would be singles who are really wanting dating advice, because we don't really give dating advice and matching people, although that happens in Erotic Freedom Club and people who come to our events. That absolutely
it's actually
happens.
happened. Some beautiful couplings have happened. There's no promise of what we're offering, but
right.
It happens.
But you have a common language. You can go, oh, I'm an energetic. Oh, I'm a sensual. Oh, let's people
play
get
in
together
that.
and they just play, just to play some of the games that we teach. And that starts to create some beautiful relationships.
But I tell you one thing that, like, we don't offer, like, you're going to find your soulmate or anything like that. But just to your point, this thing about knowing yourself is how you actually, and being self-responsible about
whether
who
you're in
you
a
are,
relationship or not,
is the starting point to you actually putting yourself out in a world where you're going to create those relationships that really turn you on, really feed you. So sexuality, and you're being honest and raw and real about who you are, what you desire, what turns you on, is part of attracting that new person into your life, or turning up the heat on your current relationship so you're revealing who you really are to the partner you're with.
Yeah. Gregory says, the more you do it with intentionality, the more skilled or artistic you can become with it. Absolutely. He's talking about eroticism there.
I'm gonna give my own thumbs to
Okay, so who has questions? Please ask us your questions. We love your questions. Dawn says, I keep losing the transmission. Could be due to overload. Trying to figure it out. Okay, great. Thank you, Dawn. Okay, so just a couple things. Let's go into some frequently asked questions.
Yes.
So one was about singles. One is, my partner isn't going to do this with me, or should I get my partner to do it? Does the cost of the investment of the enrollment
is it for one person,
for one person or for two? You know what I'm trying to ask. So the answer to that question is, if you are in a relationship, you do not have to have your partner to do this with. You can absolutely do it on your own. I firmly believe that it only takes one person to change a relationship. And Ian and I, when I started really making a shift here, it was because I was able to go to Ian, and I did actually go to Ian. I didn't go to him till 10 months in is when I went to him and said, I've been 100% all in. I've been doing everything I can to shift our relationship. Have you noticed the change? And he said, yes, I knew something was going on. This was on a pier in Jamaica with the lightning crashing out in the ocean. It was amazing, epic.
When she revealed this to me.
Yes, on a bed on the pier.
Yeah. So basically, Jaiya we had been in this negative connection for years. And Jaiya, just to put a point on what you're saying, is that she didn't tell me. She just made a decision. She read some book. You read some book. And I think that flipped it for you. Like, okay, I'm just going to make this internal decision and I'm going to be all in. She didn't reveal that to me, but through the course of her beingness and who she changed herself to be, it totally transformed our relationship. And I had noticed that I calmed down. I felt more connected to her. I was able to drop in to our relationship more. And then 10 months later, she revealed what she'd been doing. So that's to the point that you're saying, where it takes one person to transform a relationship.
Right. And then as far as two memberships go, if you both want to be part of Erotic Freedom Club and take the course together, then yes, you would need to purchase two, because the investment is for one person. So if you go to eroticbreakthrough.com/yes, it's in there. All of the information is there for you if you're ready to go dive into that.
Another thing is that you do have to be 18 to do the course.
Yes.
So that's a question we get. Yes, 18 and above. There is some non-PG material. We tell you when that's going to be in there in case
that's one of our bonuses.
Yes, it's one of our bonuses. It's a hot bonus.
Arus asks, what if in the course of your personal transformation your partner doesn't get it and they drift away? And so this is part of personal transformation. Can be sometimes you get a partner who's not willing, like they're just not willing to grow. They don't want to grow, and then that's where you make decisions. You make decisions about, okay, am I 100% all in this relationship, no matter how much I grow? And they don't. It's not about coaching our partner. It's not about our partner has to have some kind of growth with us. It's more about who am I being and who do I want to be? And then that choice of, do I want to remain in relationship with someone who doesn't want to grow? Do they not value growth? Are they willing to grow? And so it becomes about choice. And that's really what this is you make your own personal transformation, or are you committed to that? And then this is a risk in some ways. All growth is a risk.
All growth is a risk. And one of the things, too, is in growth, you will find new distinctions of how you communicate. So what may be lacking or what may be underneath that separation of your mutual trajectory is the fact that you don't have the language to communicate and connect. So part of your growth is actually learning, how do I really reveal myself in such a way that I'm inviting my partner to come join me? So you might find you separate, but you may find a brand new way of being together.
It's Eros. Eros.
Eros.
Did I get it right? Thank you. I pronounce people's names all the time wrong. I'm sorry. I do it all the
Errors.
time. I still say bagels for bagels.
Hey,
so.
Cheryl.
Cheryl's here.
I think we're going to see Cheryl this weekend.
Yay. Vivian is here. Hello, Vivian. Craig says, are you planning on another course? I'm on courses for most of November already. So we offer this 2 times a year only, and it's always changing. So every course is a little bit different. The bonuses are a little bit different. So if you really love the package, if you jump in now, you will still get the course. It's yours for life. So even if you don't take it with us live, because you've got a lot going on in your life right now, you get this for life. So you'll have all of the materials, everything will be sent to you. You can take it really at any time.
Oh, and that points to another question that we've been getting a lot. So the courses, we release them. We do 8 classes. 5 of them are pre-recorded, like we've already recorded them, so you're just getting a recording. And 3 of them we do live. We do these on Wednesday nights, Pacific time, around 6 o'clock. But just like Jai is saying, it doesn't matter if you're there live. It's great, but you don't have to be there live. The course is in there. We load it. You can watch it at your own pace, at your own time. And people are talking in Erotic Freedom Club, so you get the energy. Like even if you didn't take the class.
It's happening all week. So
happening
even
all
if
week.
you don't get there for the time that we post the class, it's happening. The energy is happening all week because the group is doing the assignments. And for the people who are doing the assignments later than the rest of the group, there's people doing them all the time.
And one of the other bonuses that we have in the class are our Pleasure Mastery coaching calls. And they're group coaching calls. They're amazing. Like when you hear other people ask questions, you almost always hearing yourself in their question. And we mix up the times that we deliver those courses because we have people in Europe and Australia. We have people in the United States. So we switch those times around to try and make it so you can get to at least 1 or 2 of the 3 that are going to be just thrown in with this course.
Yep. Sylvie says, yes, so important that what you shared, the language of bringing them in rather than scaring them away. Yeah, when you're growing really fast, really when they start to go away, it's because they're scared.
Frightened.
They're super scared. So really, if you can be super compassionate about that, I'm really growing really fast. I want to take responsibility that might be scary for you because I'm becoming a person maybe you don't recognize anymore or whatever that is, that languaging and really bringing them closer rather than scaring them away. And that's part of, we teach in the course really how to have that language and that communication. Eros says, and I'm sorry if I said it wrong again, at any time will there be a summit where classmates come together in person to share experiences and learn about each other's growth? Yes. So
every day. That's one of the major amazing things. That's like, we get feedback that the course is amazing.
They're like, we love you, Jaiya and Ian, but really? It's the community. And we also have live opportunities for everybody to get together. So even though we're all communicating online, we also have live opportunities for people in Erotic Freedom Club, people who are taking the course, to get together, practice with each other, share in a room, and really embody the material in the body.
But Erotic Freedom Club is one of the bonuses, and that is the community. That is an online community, and it is a constant share fest in the best of ways. People are talking about what they're going through in the course. The reveals are amazing. The support is incredible, and the container that Jaiya set up for this is very safe. There's no advice without consent. There's no jumping in on somebody.
Consent is a foundation.
Consent is a foundation of Erotic Freedom Club, and it's one of the things that makes it so rewarding, is that people are in there to listen and be with each other in a supportive way. We have
69 people here right now. I just had
that's
to
a perfect,
notice,
a perfect
69.
number. 69.
It just keep changing. I know. It'll keep changing up and down. Michelle says, during your 10 months before revealing to Ian, what were the major changes you made? What did that look like? The biggest change that I made was 100% commitment to be all in, no matter what happened, no matter what blew up, no matter what went down.
No matter how many times I wasn't having sex with her every week or day.
I was going to stop the story that I wasn't going to get my needs met and that I needed to have 1 foot out the door, and I was going to commit to learning whatever I needed to learn, to be with this man, to turn this man on, whatever it meant, whatever that looked like. I was going to figure out the way. And so it was 100% all in. I'm all in this relationship, and I'm not even going to entertain those thoughts. I might have had those thoughts still, but I didn't entertain them anymore. I went, oh, there's that thought, no longer entertaining that. This is the man that I'm with, and this is who I'm committing to in this time. And I decided it was going to be a year of that commitment.
And I am
he
super,
knows how to shut me up and start kissing me.
I'm super lucky that she did. So, I got all gooey.
We're going to have a love fest now. Okay, Francesca says, I'm super excited about taking the course. Yay! Okay, so that, I would say, Michelle, that was the main thing that I did, and that was the main change that I made, was just a mindset change. And just to remind you all again, for anybody who signs up after listening to this today, we have our sex mindset boot camp. And in that, I talked about the sex education piece, but also in there, we're going to look at shame. We're going to look at resistances that we have. We're going to look at trauma. One of the big things I've also been doing is really looking at how my trauma, because a lot of us have triggers and they're unconscious and we don't recognize them. And I think a lot of us have trauma around sexuality. And so I can't work in the sex field and not see a lot of trauma. And I know this is really up in the culture right now. So everybody take a deep breath, because I noticed myself not breathing. But that's another thing that I really worked on, was getting conscious of triggers, getting conscious of my own reactions, of ways that I would snip at him, or things that would create disconnection between us instead of connection. And so that was another mindset shift that I did. So a lot of it was mindset work. It wasn't learning some new sex technique. It was healing those shadow parts, my judgmental, hierarchical, energetic, and my sexual that just like wanted it now and didn't have any room for any of the other
Thought that because
pieces.
You weren't getting it,
Thought that
because
I wasn't getting it, I didn't have love. And so I'm really looking at the shadow pieces, healing the shadow pieces, making those mindset shifts, so that I could then become a better lover and better partner to Ian.
And one of the big things at the root of all of this is where the erotic blueprint started to play a role, and where we started to see each other for who we were erotically and learn to feed each other's blueprints. So we talk a little bit in some of the videos about compatibility, and that we think incompatibility is pretty much a myth. Because it's really this thing of like speaking each other's language. She was speaking American English because she wanted some certainty and some sex. Yep. And I was over here speaking a little bit of French and some Persian. And we just didn't understand each other. So we started to realize, oh, that's the language you're speaking, and that's the desire. So now how do I learn how to learn how to fulfill that for each other? And we started to up-level our game of who we were being and who we were bringing into the relationship, so that instead of looking from the place of what can I get, it became what can I give.
I saw some more questions in here. So Jaiya, you really took control of the things I could control. Yep, I did. The things I could control, which was myself, my own mindset, my own skill sets. And then Ian, when she revealed to you that she'd been changing herself, what were your first reactions? Were you intimidated, scared?
Oh, no, I was just like totally open heart. Like, yeah. I mean, one of the things...
You felt it though. You knew that something was happening.
I completely felt it. And one of the things so this is other psychology about relationship. Jaiya has more of a away from, and I have more of a towards. So in all of our disconnection... because of my people pleaser, I was still moving towards her. I had that commitment level, like I'm not going anywhere. I'm totally into this, even though there's all this crazy stuff.
And I do the push away.
She does the push away from.
I'll just go find someone else. I can just go have another lover.
So it's this dynamic as opposed to this dynamic. But so she had switched from this to coming towards, and I felt that. And so when she revealed it, it just wasn't opening. It was just like, oh wow. I'm so grateful and so thankful that you made that choice, because that's where I've been.
Yeah. Yay.
Yay. I just want to highlight here, because I don't know when we're going to get kicked off. We are giving away the book for the person who's been most engaged. We're probably going to have to look at the feed and see.
Tied and Satisfied.
Cuffed, Tied, and Satisfied.
There's a little bit about blueprints in that book.
There's a little bit about blueprints. It's an awesome book. We're going to give that away for the most engaged.
It doesn't have the shapeshifter in it.
Most revealing. And it's really just a teaser
of it.
And tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific, we have one bonus that we put together especially for this tonight, which is the Sexual Mindset Bootcamp. After 7 p.m. tonight, you won't be able to get that bonus. It is just for people who are here and for people who caught the email earlier today. We're shutting that down.
And I just want to celebrate for a moment because we have over 100 people already engaged and going and like committed to taking this course, and it's just climbing. And not only that, but the quiz. I know many of you have taken the quiz, and I just want to say thank you to all of you, because I can feel a day when one day millions of people know the erotic blueprints, millions of people are having this conversation, and we're really making a huge difference in the world. So I just want to thank all of you who've trusted us and who are here and who are engaged. And just, Ranit says, I have the book, so don't give it to me.
Thank you for being honest.
I was having like a heartfelt moment, and then I saw that comment and it made me giggle. So thank you.
You can always give it away as a gift.
So I just want to thank you all, everybody who's been engaged in this, who has supported us, who is here, who is engaged in this conversation. Thank you so much. And I want to know that I feel so many of you, and I feel your struggle, and I feel, because I've been there, single or in relationship, like I see you, I feel you, and we're here. And we're here in this conversation where you have us tonight. So please ask us some more questions, because you have us here. And I know that it's Facebook, and maybe you're being shy. And I know there were some logistical questions, Ian, that we had that came in. I know we've been getting some questions about the quiz, I got the same type.
At the
top. So just so you know, if you got the same type, that's okay. You can have more than one. That's like your primary. You will only get the top video right now, because that's the way our tech is set up. We're always a work in progress. I have to thank my perfectionist for sharing. It's okay not to be perfect all the time and not get it absolutely the way everybody wants it and be a pleaser.
Yep.
It's good practice. That right now you only get the one video, but when you have 2 or 3 that are very close, you're probably all 3 of those. And if you have shapeshifter in there, you're probably high on the shapeshifter. So you could be like an energetic shapeshifter. So energetic really shapes your shapeshifter, or you're a sensual shapeshifter, you're a kinky shapeshifter, somewhere in there. I am not a shapeshifter. It's very low on my scale. So I'm mostly sexual energetic. Those are my top 2. They were almost exactly the same. So you can have more than one that's the same, and it just gives you a hint about your stack. Of course, I would go into really the body, and this is where we go into week 3 of the course, is going into the body and doing more games and discovery around all of that. Who wants some coaching? Ask me a question. My giggles are cute. Thank you. Robert says, nice job, Ian and Jaiya. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Robert. Really good. So another question we get about the course is, how long is it? It is 8 weeks. Each class is just like this on Facebook. So of course it's in our private group. So it's in our secret group. So people will not see your comments on the thread. It's all very safe, very private. And we will have it just like this. We'll be answering questions. We'll be talking to you. You guys can see, like, we're pretty raw, real, here with you, present, and that's exactly the way the classes are when we're doing the 3 live classes. The other classes are pre-recorded, as we mentioned, and it's 8 weeks. Each week we go through feeding, speaking, healing, and expanding the blueprints. We have a whole piece on determining the blueprints. So those are just some of the things that are within the course.
So some of the great things, like the determining the blueprint module, is amazing. A lot of people do ask about this. So they'll ask about, well, how do I discover my partner's blueprint? Well, there are very specific ways that you can do that. And it has everything to do with listening how they speak, how their body language is, and actually games that we walk you through about how you can work with your partner, and without the criticism, judgment, and blame. It's just like fun, where you're diving into discovery with each other, and you're coming out the other end with a complete new idea of, like, oh, this is how I can win with you.
And most people usually end up with a lot of toys at the end of our course that may be around your house. Michelle says, it's all very new to me. I keep reading your emails and I keep thinking, one day I am now one step closer.
Nice.
So Michelle, yes. So I just want to say, some people see where I'm at, like how crazy turned on I am and how in pleasure I am, and they think that it's unattainable for them. And I want to say that I started out not at all in this place. That it's been 20 years of me cultivating this in my own body. It's been cultivating this. and getting one step closer, one step closer, one step closer. I keep exploring all that is erotically possible. It's part of my personal mission. But I didn't come from that. I came from a place of shutdown. I came from a place of a lot of shadow. I came from a place of a lot of judgment. I came from trauma.
Like, it was painful for people
when people touched me. I felt pain. Like, I hated to be hugged. I could not stand people to even touch my face. Luckily, I went through massage school, and that was something that really helped me to start transition into really enjoying touch. But I couldn't receive touch. I was like, no way. So just know that I wasn't always orgasmic. I wasn't always like having these epic experiences.
I'm going to check our time because I don't want to skip.
How does one deal with emotional vulnerability? I found my conflicting energies, dominant yang and passive yin, both don't allow for easy access to open myself out of the sensual, and unfortunately this cuts off the rest of people's comments. So the emotional vulnerability and the conflicting energy between the yang and the yin. So I would say go to body sensation. Sometimes that just helps. If you just go, and I know this is a pretty feminine practice just to actually go inside and find your body sensation. But to go in and find body sensation, that sometimes helps with the emotional vulnerability of this is just what's true in this moment, is that, and revealing it first to yourself, before you go to anybody else, can you reveal it first to yourself? Just, okay, I'm feeling tension right here. And that's it. That's as far as you have to go, is right here I'm feeling this tension, or right here I'm feeling this thing, and leaning into it. And not having to, again, reveal that to anyone else. If you can, then the next step is, okay, well, what's the emotion or what's the behavior when I'm in this state? Could I let go just 10% more? What does that part of my body want to say? Those are some of the tools. And this is how I coach. So when I'm working on the Pleasure Mastery coaching calls Ian mentioned, which are part of, if you sign up for the course, you will get coaching calls with me. That, I need to take a breath there. I'm like talking. That on those calls, this is how I coach people frequently, is like, let's just go in, let's be with that emotional vulnerability, and let's reconcile that. And then once we lean into the emotional vulnerability and we can get out of the reaction, like when we're in reactionary place, then we can go into the dominant, more yang energy, which is the solution-oriented action taking place. But we're not taking action out of the reactive defense mode or the survival trigger. We're taking action out of a creative place and out of our more resourced place. After we've kind of gone into the feminine and we felt some of the energy and the vulnerability and the emotionality there, then we can move into the other.
Part of going into the physical sensation, a big part of this is actually being able to give up the story. So going into your body, the story is the thing that starts to lead you down the path of the defensiveness or the reactiveness, and you start to build a story that reinforces right, wrong. So the beginning of this process that Jaiya is talking about is this thing of losing the story and going into the sensation, which then, if you really go into it, starts to get you to what you really want. As opposed to going to, like, somebody else has got to fix something, that you start to get into what is really at the bottom of your desire, and you can admit it from a place of vulnerability, and again, this invitation and a curiosity, as opposed to a demand or a frustration or like the world's got to change to make it all okay for me.
Question on, can we post the link to sign up here? Can someone post this for me? eroticbreakthrough.com/yes.
It should be in the feeds. We have somebody, one of our trusted, amazing people on our team who should be posting that. But yes,
posting that here.
eroticbreakthrough.com/yes.
Because we can't post it right now.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Gregory says, I love how you consider different blueprints, forms of sensual and sexual language. It's almost like different dialects from the same language. Absolutely. It is.
We usually talk about it as actually distinct languages, because sometimes between sexual and energetic, they can be worlds apart.
Right.
In terms of, they just don't have any clue that you're an alien. Like, what are you talking about? You can be turned on from touch that's 5 feet off your body. Whereas the sexual is all about certainty and orgasm and naked bodies and all that, very, very different.
Fun jazz that I like.
All that fun jazz.
Lotus says, do you offer any other products while we're getting closer to preparing our finances for this course? I have books. I have a number of those kinds of things. I will say I don't have anything on erotic blueprints. This is our main thing. We do have payment plans. So for those of you who need those, they're on the site. So if you go to eroticbreakthrough/yes, all that's listed. All the numbers are there. But we don't have anything that is on blueprints while you're doing that. I'm trying to think. Cuff Tied Satisfied is the book that talks tiny. It's just like kind of gives you an intro, which you've already probably gotten from the videos here. So unfortunately, no, we don't have anything that is on the blueprints.
So just in case, because we're running up right against an hour, we don't know if Facebook is at an hour and a half now. But just in case, eroticbreakthrough.com/yes is the place to enroll. If you haven't taken the quiz yet, you can get that at eroticbreakthrough.com, and you'll run through the quiz. You'll get a video all about your primary blueprint type. We've got a hot video series that's going to be up for about another week. A couple of logistics about the course is that we close enrollment on October 30th, like midnight October 30th, which is the next coming Monday here in the United States. And when we close that enrollment, then we start the course about 2 days later on November 1st. So you want to get in before then. And I would say if you're ready to jump, I would say jump now, because you get
the bonus tonight.
The Sexual Mindset Bootcamp bonus, which is 6 audio course that Jaiya is putting together specifically for this group. And it is going to help to unleash, get past the shame, get past the bad sexual education. And it's actually some of the stuff that is most powerful for people in our community, are these mindset meditations that we offer to them, because a lot of this is an unconscious unraveling. We don't even know the baggage that we picked up all along the path. We don't know where the trauma is.
Shame. I mean, shame is a big one to unravel.
The trauma, the shame, the hiding, the places that it's all kind of like buried inside. And a lot of it is this kind of like unwinding that. What's the pattern? And we go back to the same thing over and over again. That's what we're neurologically patterned to do, is to go back to the same
familiar,
habits,
go back to the familiar.
So one of the ways to break through that is with these things that are offered in the Sexual Mindset Bootcamp.
Okay, Michelle says she thinks she's about 20 years behind where I am. You know what, though? I didn't have erotic blueprints.
Yes, it's true.
So
she had to come up with erotic blueprints.
I had to come up with them. So just say, things are accelerated right now. I don't think it takes 20 years. I think that change can happen in an instant for some people. It can be a mindset shift. It can be something you learn. It can be a framework.
And to reinforce a point here, this is where certain things like community, erotic community. So if you're doing this in isolation, if you're reading some books and you're trying to figure this out,
I grew up in Ohio.
Yeah, like in the outback. So if
the outback of Ohio.
Yeah, outback of Ohio, the boonies, the hills. So if you're trying to do this on your own, yes, your growth may be much slower because you don't have feedback. You don't have people supporting you, giving the compassion and the education that they've gotten, the support. If you're not coaching with masters, people who have been there before you, you're trying to do it on your own. Again, yes, it's going to be much slower. But that's one thing I know from watching what happens with Jaiya and the work that she does with people. I'm fortunate enough to play a role in this. But when I see Jaiya doing the work she does and the stuff that we offer in this course and the support that people get in Erotic Freedom Club, we have seen, oh my God, I mean, we have seen people go from, there's no promises of healing here, but we've seen people go from becoming like completely from a place of total closure, cancer survivors who have lost connection to their pleasure.
People who just moved out of apartments because they're getting divorced and then now they're back together. And
people who haven't had sex in 15 years or been non-orgasmic. From their whole lives within a period of, like, it can be an exercise, it can be a game that we've offered inside of this course, in the emails and the things that people share in the club. I mean, it's just mind-blowing.
And I'm super humble, so when I hear him...
I will scream to the hilltops for Jaiya where she won't speak for herself, because it's the genius of the work that she's put together in the 20-some years that she's put into discovering this and just observing to the point where it came together in the system of the Erotic Blueprints. And you will hear people in our tribe, Erotic Freedom Club and the Erotic Blueprint Breakthrough course, tell you how much growth they've had in such a short period of time. So it is possible.
Okay, so I'm getting comfortable because it's too much bragging about Jaiya. My perfectionist is getting triggered and all the places where it's not, and blah, 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 blah.
And we're not perfect. We're not.
Yep.
And in fact, that's one of the things, another thing that is kind of the point.
Yeah, you guys get to watch us mess up a lot.
We do
inside
it
of
all the time.
Inside of Erotic Freedom Club, we mess up, and people say that's the best that I learned was when you messed up. And sometimes I don't think we as masters, mastery doesn't mean perfection, and I have to keep reminding myself all the time about how mastery doesn't mean perfection. Mastery just means being real and growing and being an example
and practicing
leadership, and so. And constantly seeking for me, it's seeking what's next. How can I grow? How can I go even further with that?
Yep. So we'll screw up inside the group when we're doing one of our lessons and we're playing one of our games that we're teaching you. And what people share is like, it's how the two of you recovered from that really taught me how to do it.
I love that moment when Ian totally messed up that electrocuted Jaiya's vulva. Yeah, love that moment.
Well, you're not going to see that inside the club.
Moment when he electrocuted my vulva.
Yes, you're not going to see that in the club, but that is something that happened.
Yes,
I electrocuted her.
You did. Okay. All right. Gregory says, how do you encourage your partner to become more comfortable in speaking to what they are feeling in an intimate setting? Sometimes I feel as though I'm able to tap into my sense. Of course, it cuts off. So, Gregory, how do we encourage a partner to become more comfortable in speaking? One is to become more comfortable in ourselves with it. And then also it's just like, okay, well, what is it that made it unsafe to talk about sexuality? What is it that made it unsafe for them to talk about what they're feeling in that moment? And again, maybe it's safer to go to a body sensation than it might be to go to an actual emotion. It could be safer to say, I'm feeling tension in my shoulders, but it's not safe to say, I feel anger and I feel hate and I want to kill you right now. That can't be safe, especially in the female body. Sometimes our sadness will come out as anger, and our anger gets buried under sadness. It's kind of a convoluted whole loop that can happen. And so I know for myself, I can be really sad about something, but it'll come out in anger towards Ian, or I'm really afraid and it comes out as anger. Or I'm really angry, but I cry instead. And I hate that when I cry, when I'm really mad and I want to be, and I cry instead. So
one of the things that you can guess and be 99.9% accurate all the time, if you are in a masculine sensibility yourself and your partner is feminine, whether it's feminine body, masculine body, that it is often fear in the feminine that is driving a lot of the anger, the rage, the arguments. They're scared. This happens for men too. People in male bodies have the same experience, but it's really heightened for especially women in female what's the word? Female
energy.
Bodies.
Hormonal energies.
Hormonal energies. There's often fear. So if you can create safety, now it's all of our own self-responsibility to create safety in anything other that's a physical threat. But if you can help to create safety, then you can start to get to curiosity.
Don says he's an older single man, just turned 70, wants to meet someone, can share all the different passions with. Never really able to receive and express these with my formal wife. That's one thing. We have such a diverse community. We have people who are over 70. We have people who are over 50. We have people who are younger.
We got 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds.
Like all exploring. And that's one of the things that I really, really love. And so, Don, I send you good juju to meet that special person who would help you. Great. Thank you, Connie, for erotic breakthrough. Yes, thanks. I'm in. Yay! Super excited for you. I want us to celebrate everybody who's in. Woohoo! What about aggression, darker desires? These can be natural, but can be severely scare someone who's unaccustomed to them. People will misconstrue dark with evil. Yeah. So energetics even. So we talk a lot about light energetics, but there are dark energetics. And I love dark energy. I'm a dark energy. I'm very light on the outside, but then when I get into sex, I can be very dark energy. There's a lot of hearts going on.
There are a lot of hearts.
So, yeah, I mean, darker energy can scare people who are not accustomed to that. And that's where the consent conversation can come in of just saying, hey, I play in dark energy. How do you feel about that? Like having those conversations, the conversation seems scarier sometimes than the dark energy, because then the person kind of can go to like, oh my God, like I wasn't expecting that. I didn't consent to that. There can be that piece. But then the conversation, if you don't really talk about it deeply, then the conversation, they can go to all kinds of thoughts in their head about what dark energy means. Like you said, they can go to evil instead of, no, it's just dark energy. Dark energy can be very different than light energy. It's more of the bad boy, bad girl, and it's the energy that we're scared of because we're all taught to be good boys and good girls to be accepted in life.
But we're very attracted, many of us, to the dark energy.
To the dark energy.
So
many of us want dark energy. Like, I want dark energy.
Desire it, like crave it badly. And so many of us are caught in the good boy, good girl that we can't even give ourselves the freedom to give it. So one of the things, too, that we get into deeply in this course, and actually we have our kinky immersion, our blueprint immersion in about 2 months. We're going to start our kinky blueprint immersion. And we will be definitely going deeply into container and consent and how do you create a place where it's safe to play with those energies so that you have total safety, but in the mind and the environment that you set up, you can go all the way to the fences and really play with that dark energy.
Michelle says, it certainly hopes to have a like-minded community. Yes, yes, yes. Lovely, Gwen. This is true. I missed something from Gwen in there. Feminine fear drives rage. Yes, it can. What you said about only those emotions. Don't like those bad feelings, hatred, sadness, anger. So if you don't like them, that's the place to lean in. That's what I would give you. Is when you're like, oh, I don't like that anger inside of me, that hatred inside of me. I don't like that sadness. I don't like feeling afraid. When you push them, so there's a lot of different analogies that go on there, but think of them like those energies. If you don't allow yourself to feel them, you're actually taking them in your body even deeper and you're holding on to them. As opposed to, think of a child, they let emotion move through them. They're mad about something, really mad. Throw a tantrum. Or if they're sad, they cry. If they're scared, they are scared.
Yes.
And they allow themselves to feel. So then the emotion can just flow through. It's like pipes. You don't want clogged. My dad was a plumber. You don't want clogs in your pipes. The pipes get all stuffed up and then shit spews out of them in not good ways.
She said that on Facebook too.
I did. And we don't want backed up pipes. We want the energy and the emotions and everything flowing through, which means we lean in and we feel them.
So here's what happens for a lot of people who are confronted by the darker emotions and they resist. Well, emotion is energy in motion. So when you resist, you've bottled it up. But the fear there is that if I go into the rage, if I go into the sadness, I will be consumed and I will become this rage monster. I will become permanently this. I will never be able to get out. It's actually in the resistance of it, like Jaiya is saying, that you hold on to it, the energy becomes you, and you're in resistance of letting it go.
And it starts building tension in the body here, tension in the body here, and then all this tension doesn't allow pleasure to flow either.
And then it becomes somatically ingrained in your system, so then it becomes part of you, as opposed to driving into it, let it build and go and move, and when you can let that emotion move, emotion, you will get to the next one. You will be surprised how quickly it can flow.
I love what Francesca was just saying. I missed it. It went away. Point about perfection. I sang opera at a concert in Dublin. I also studied opera. It's where I got my good oral sex skills. In my own French words, my pianist comforted me by telling me that now, and I can't read it.
Aww.
Yeah, I want to see that one. I'll come back and read it. David says, will you speak to the scheduling details? Very interested, but have a full and complicated schedule. So here's what I had to say, because I know a lot of times time is a big concern for people. So what you will need, you will have the course for life. So if you get the course now, you get all the fun bonuses, which tonight we have the Sexual Mindset Bootcamp bonus, which will go away after tonight. So just want to say that you get it for life, and also just time-wise, what it would take. Think about it about an hour a week.
Hour and a half to 2 hours to be straight.
To be fair.
Yeah, because the classes can run an hour and a half.
The classes are about an hour. The live ones run a little bit longer, and then maybe some practice time. But practice is fun. You're having sex
We're talking about something that you weave through your life and you expand it in your life. So you can titrate it. You can put 5 minutes of pleasure in this week and figure out how to put 10 minutes in next week and see how this becomes part of your daily practice as opposed to something you have to do. It's about
It's
being.
not an obligation.
No, it's about expanding to something fresh and new and a new way of being in your life. And this the other thing about the time question is really what is your commitment? So like a lot of us don't prioritize pleasure. We prioritize a lot of important stuff that needs to get done. We got to feed the kids.
How many books have you read on your business? How many books have you read on this or that? But how many have you actually dove into with pleasure? And then how much do you put practices and prioritization of that in? And the majority of people have 52 extra weeks, extra hours, 52 extra weeks, 52 extra hours in a week that they're spending futzing on Facebook or whatever. Spend your time on Facebook with us.
Yes, exactly.
Instead, that we actually do have this extra time. It's just, are you willing to prioritize? What is it worth to you? What value do you see in getting out of this? That's the question I would ask back to you is, if you prioritize this for the next 8 weeks, and maybe let go of something else, or you just didn't watch as much television, or you didn't do as much Facebook time, or whatever other distractions, or reading articles on Huffington Post.
Maybe you have 3 jobs, and maybe you really do are back-to-back 16 hours a day, and we don't know your life, so we're not passing any judgment. But the truth is, when any of us do this exercise and we really look where our time is going, often we find that we do have up to 52 hours a week extra that we're just kind of
And if something's really important to me, I'll make the time. Time is something you create, to me. Michelle, don't want to leave, have an appointment. Bye, Michelle.
We'll be leaving soon, too, because I think we're about to get kicked off.
How do we gain access to the boot camp if we signed up 2 days ago? Are we giving this to
yes,
other people
everybody
who
who's signed up to this point is going to get the boot camp.
Everybody who's signed up to this point gets the boot camp. Yay!
Yay! So no worries there, no conflict. You will get the boot camp, but we close it down at 7-ish tonight when we get off of here. That's the Sexual Mindset Boot Camp. It's a special bonus. Go to eroticbreakthrough.com/yes to join the course. We love to see you in there. We're really excited getting people going. The next several days before we close enrollment, we are going to be stacking some really juicy bonuses in there as well.
So you'll see quite a few emails from us about all those.
So you're going to get a lot of juicy stuff, but you're not going to get this. And everybody who signs up now will get all those bonuses that I'm not telling you about, but you're going to get all that too.
Arusa, didn't personally resist, generally is a part of me. Turned outward can be dangerous. Turned inward can be an unbeatable enemy. Oh, I hear that. Martial arts teaches us to focus in. I can't read the rest. I will come back and read that one and respond. David says, wonderful answer. Thank you. Are there specific days and times scheduled for the live classes? So we do have those. You'll get them all in there. I don't know exactly what they are off the top of my head.
It will be a Wednesday night.
But usually a Wednesday night around 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock is when we do the live courses. I don't remember which weeks that will be.
And then we have other classes that are throughout that aren't on those times. So we try to mix it up because we have people in Europe and people here.
Australia here.
But usually Wednesday nights, and we start November 1st. Gregory says work study things go out in November, correct? So Gregory's asking about the coach program, and we do have work study for the coach program. So any of you who are interested in being coaches, we do have a coach program. If you're just like, I want to jump in and become an erotic blueprint coach, that is eroticbreakthrough.com/certification. If anybody is like really interested in that. So Gregory, work study things. So as soon as we get through this launch and our event that's coming up this weekend, and then we're going to Mexico to teach in Mexico. When we get back from that trip is when we're planning on sending out things about the work study and how many positions we have available for our work study for starting in January-ish. Yep.
And there is a payment plan for that. So if you can work that out, you can get a sponsor. There's all sorts of ways to skin that fish.
All right. Awesome. I think we've answered everybody. Are there any other frequently asked questions that we need to answer here? Our video series will come down on Monday, so make sure you go check out all the videos within our series.
It is most everything we do is really PG. There are some bonuses that are more explicit. You will get warned about explicit material. And it's a secret Facebook group that is our membership, where our membership resides. So inside of that group, that will not show up on anybody else's Facebook feeds. You have as much privacy as you have by keeping your computer shut and not leaving it open for other people to see, because it really doesn't show up on anybody else's post. It's a pretty intimate environment and just incredible people in there. So.
We love you all.
And you'll get 3 months free in Erotic Freedom Club. The course takes about 2 months. It's 8 weeks long.
Yep.
You get an extra month in there to hang out with everybody, keep working the course materials, doing our sexy sex lab with us, getting the coaching call that we have going on every month. So
David wants to know if he needs to sign up before 7 p.m. to get the bonus tonight. Yes. The bonus for tonight is for tonight only.
It goes away at 7 p.m.
That's the Sexual Mindset Boot Set Camp.
Boot Set
Sexual
Mindset Boot. And that's 6 audio recordings that, do you remember off the top of your head exactly what they go into? I know there's one about shame. There's one about sex education.
Shame, trauma. There's one about the cycle of truth in your body versus disconnection, and how we can actually go into deeper connection versus disconnection.
So 6
Dawn
of those
just
audios.
jumped in.
Yay!
Yay, Dawn!
Happy dance!
Happy dance!
We're excited to have you.
So excited to have you.
Kicking cameras
Yay. Ian got so excited.
So excited I kicked the tripod.
Did. Well, thank you all so much. We love you all. Mwah. And we're heading into our Path to Passion event this weekend, which is super sold out. So we're excited. And if we're a little quiet, actually, you'll see a lot of posts and pictures from the event. So we're going to share as much as we can.
And I think we'll do another little Facebook Live from the event on Sunday from people who have been in Erotic Blueprint Breakthrough course for the last year or 6 months. And that's going to be fun because I love when people share from that course about how awesome it is.
Yay.
Yay.
All right, everyone. Good night. Good night. Much love. Mwah. And here's to filling your life with pleasure.